Today on Tackle Talk Thursday, we're going to discuss downsizing your lures for the colder weather. Welcome back everybody to another Tackle Talk Thursday, and welcome into 2020. I hope you made it through the night safely and you still have all your digits so you can tie knots and cast your rods. Today we're going to discuss downsizing your lures for the colder weather that's coming. It hasn't really gotten cold yet, of course. Here it is January, but it's not really all that cold. But the water temps have dropped a good bit, and as the water temps go down, so does the lure size that I use. They go down in both the size, the length of the lures, and the bulkiness of the lures. During the summertime, the fish's metabolism is a lot faster because the water's warmer. These fish are cold-blooded. So when their metabolism's faster, they'll chase more bait. They gotta feed more. They gotta eat more to be healthy. Now, in the wintertime, when the water temps are a lot colder, their metabolism slows down a lot. So they don't really want to eat a lot. You know, just like say you go out to lunch with some family and eat a big old lunch, and then when dinner time comes, you're really not hungry. You just maybe might fix a sandwich. You don't want that much. That's the same way the fish feel. When the water temps are really cold, they really don't want a big meal. So you got to kind of start appealing to them more by downsizing your lures some. And another thing is when the water is cold, everything in the water moves slower. So you need to kind of slow down your lures, and you want lures with less action. Now I'm going to explain some of this when I set the camera up to look at these lures. But I use more straight tail worms than curly tail worms in this time of the year. Also, the crawls I use, instead of a big bulky crawl, I use a smaller crawl with less tail action or less claw action because everything is a lot slower. So you got to mimic that. Well, let's look at some of the lures that I like to fish during the winter time. Here we have the two typical types of jigs that I like to use. This is my summertime pattern. It has a fairly large head. This is a 3/8 ounce, I want to say. It has a lot of skirt material and a big bulky trailer. This is a beaver style bait, a lot of appendages. It's wide, it's thick. It gives off a lot of mass. And what this really looks like is a big perch to the fish swimming through the waters. Excellent post spawn through the summertime bait. Now, wintertime, this is mine. This is what I really like. As you can see the difference in these two, this one's a lot more bulkier, a lot wider, puts off a lot more deflection in the water. This is my winter one. It has a lot smaller profile to it, has a lot less skirt material. It's only a 1/4 ounce head, and it has a very small trailer, if I even use one. It's thin both ways, and it's short. That's why I use that. It looks more appealing to the fish because they don't want a big meal. For the square bills, here you have a 1.5, and this is I think it's a 2. And you get these up to huge sizes, 2.5. But in the wintertime, this is the one I'm always going to throw. In summertime, I'm going to throw a little bit bigger one that gives off a lot more movement in the water to attract more fish. But in the wintertime, I'm going to throw these little bitty square bills. Even smaller than that if I can get one. Now, spinner baits. Spinner baits are kind of weird. I always pick my blades to match the shad size that's in the area that I'm fishing. However, in the wintertime, I'm going to stick with the smaller blades. I'm going to stay with both an Indiana and a little Colorado, sometimes 2 Colorados. So it gives off the impression that it's smaller bait. Now, let's get this off of the table so I can show you the plastics that I use and the difference between the summertime and the wintertime plastics. Alrighty, over here we got 2 straight tail worms. Now, I like straight tail worms in the winter because they fall so slow. There's not a whole lot of tail action, so it looks very natural to fish.
In the beginning of the winter, I must throw this big, thick, long, straight tail worm. As it starts getting colder and the water temps keep going down, I'm gonna go with this more of a finesse straight tail worm. It's a very thin profile and a little bit shorter of a bait, so that again, as it gets colder, the fish don't want to eat much. You want to make it appealing to them, not so overwhelming. This is the speed worm. Y'all heard me talk about this before. This is a staple all year. I would take this at any hard time when the fish aren't wanting to bite, and I will put this little weight in front of it and just slowly reel it through the grass. Can't go wrong with this, no matter what time of year it is. Like post frontal, I would definitely throw this. It's a very thin lure. It has just enough little action to try to make a little noise and commotion to make them want to bite, but it's not overwhelming to them. So post frontal, this is what I definitely suggest. Now, if you guys are really holding on to summertime and you just can't put that swim bait down, these two swim baits right here, this is my summertime one. It's about 4 3/4 long. It's a fairly thick swim bait. And here is made by the same company. It's a lot shorter. It's a lot narrower, a lot less bulky of a bait. So definitely, if you've got to keep throwing your swim bait and you can't put it down, get the smaller swim baits. Here's the fluke style baits. Very good all year. You can fish these slow or faster to try to make a reaction bite. Again, here's the normal size of summertime lure, and here is your wintertime. Nice and small lure. Here we have the craw worms. This is my summertime, flipping through the reeds, making all kinds of commotion, punching through the mats. I like the big beaver style baits with big weights. Wintertime stuff, I'm gonna use absolutely the lightest weight I can, that it'll go through the mat, for two reasons. The fish are usually right up under the mat because the sun's beaming on it and it's like a heating blanket to them, and you don't want it to just go real fast. And once again, everything's moving slow as the water's cold. You want it to get through that mat and just kind of sit there, and you kind of work it right under the mat. So use the lightest weight possible. And this is my summertime. This is the beginning of winter and summer. I'll use this in the summer too. And then finally, end of winter. Really, really cold weather. Nice small lure. As you can see the difference in size. Sometimes just making it less bulky is going to get more bites in the wintertime.
Alright guys, as y'all saw there's not always a huge difference in it. You know, up north when it's really, really, really cold and the water temps is down into the high 30s, they have to start going down to little bitty Ned rigs or whatever they call them. Here that's not as popular. You know, that's not as needed. Here we don't have to go that small because the water temps don't get that low here. But you do need to downsize your lures a little. And you don't need to necessarily quit fishing your favorite lures. If your favorite lure is a jig, just cut the skirt on it. Just make it thinner. Put a smaller trailer on it. If your favorite lure is a swim bait, use a smaller swim bait than you do in the summertime. So you don't necessarily have to give up your favorite type of fishing. You just have to slow down a bit and downsize it. Alright guys, I hope this video helps you out. Please like and subscribe and share it with your friends. Now y'all stay warm out there, stay safe out there, and I'll see you next time.